All right, good evening, everybody. Sorry, we're a little late. We're going to call the meeting of December 5th, 2019 to order. Then could I have a roll call, please?
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Here.
Council members Achara.
Here.
Donovan.
Here.
Fisher.
Here.
And Mayor Siciliano.
Here, everybody please rise for a pledge of allegiance and then please remain standing for a moment of silent prayer thereafter. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The notice requirement for the Open Public Meeting Act for this meeting has been satisfied. A copy of the annual notice was sent to the Asbury Park Press Coaster and posted in the Town Hall and filed in the office of the municipal clerk on December 27, 2018. There are two fire exits, one to my left in the back of the room will take you out to that parking lot opposite, side there on the rear, and one to my right would take you out to the front parking lot. If you have a cell phone, you need to turn the volume down because it interferes with our audio and our camera. You're welcome to take pictures. If you need to make a call, kindly go outside into the hallway. Right now we have a proclamation that we're going to introduce, but before I do that, I just want to go down the line. John, do you have anything for us, or Councilman?
Yes, actually, on the agenda, Resolution 19-203 with the Mylan Terry Foundation. I'm going to abstain from that because I'm a board member. But I just wanted to give a brief report that we did meet with the engineers in regard to that, and it's moving along at a pretty good pace right now. We met with Kelly, who's the chairperson of the Mylan Terry Foundation, Bill Fitzgerald, and Greg Blash, our engineer. So it looks like it's going to be a really beautiful addition to Playa Park over in the southeast quadrant over there of Playa Park, and I think it's going to be a fantastic addition. We're going to do some landscaping. Kelly has some ideas on pavers and how she wants the whole layout there. You got to really thank Bill Fitzgerald because he did all the renderings of it for nothing for us, and he's just been doing a great job. So
Great. Thanks, John. Mark, anything for us?
No, just looking forward to the Christmas tree lighting this Sunday at 4:30 at the Historical Museum. Should be a great night.
Yeah, and prior to that visit to the museum, they're also having their holiday event the same day. They usually piggyback with us.
7:10.
Excuse me? Saturday and Sunday, they sell wreaths and whatnot. This year, our Christmas tree lighting, it gets better and better each year. This year we have the Santa Express, which is going to take kids a little trip down to the back to the nice tower back there, which will be all lit up. There'll be music playing there. We'll have the Navasink Brass Band, of course, joining us once again. S'mores and marshmallows and all that. And there'll be a nice fire pit there, music, dancing, and a lot of fun for kids. Bring your letters to Santa. We have a little mailbox here for you. Ornaments that you can make on the spot or bring your own ornament hanging on the tree. So a lot of fun. Be there at 4:30, or if you want to get there early and join the museum, you can do that as well. And I'll also just mention, do my report right now. We mentioned about the flag contest, about the township flag. And so we put out a call to all the schools, we put in a newsletter, we reached out. So far, our flag stewards or our flagsmiths are up to about 125 entrants. And they're all phenomenal. These kids are so talented. A lot of them put together some really incredible designs. So they're pouring through your designs as we speak. Just want you all to know out there, the kids from the schools and whatnot, that we have all your entries. They're really good, very, very good. And we'll let you know once we pick one. Okay, Dave.
Okay, let's see. We've got a planning board meeting coming up on December 16th, Monday night. I also want to piggyback off of Chris there and let you know that menorah lighting is going to be on December 23rd, 5 p.m., Township Hall here. And that's all I've got.
Well, I'll add that with the menorah lighting also. We'll have a DJ. We'll have a tent this year for the kids, excuse me, that they can go under, because usually it's always bad weather for the menorah lighting. It rains, I don't know why. But so we're going to have a tent this year, and it'll be inside there. And again, we'll have marshmallow roast in there as well, kosher hot chocolate, and all the fun things to do. So be there for that event. It's the second night of Hanukkah that we're doing the official ceremony. Sorry, Rob.
Alden. I attended the Chamber of Commerce meeting this morning, and our new executive director is doing a fantastic job, Andrew. We have a complete schedule for the entire year of 2020 as far as mixers an event each month. And the standard ones with the comedy show, the golf outing, we're adding a casino night, and there's a couple of other things. Likewise, we are also redesigning, well, we're designing a flag here, but we're redesigning our logo, so if anybody's interested in chiming in on a logo design for the Chamber of Commerce, by all means, reach out to me, we'd be happy to take a look at it. And that's all we have.
Mike?
I have no report.
Marty?
I just want to thank Mr. Geiger on behalf of the whole council and myself
And you as well.
for the lovely candy cane and the nice card for Hanukkah or Christmas, depending on your persuasion. Your holiday wish. Very nice.
Very nice.
Was it customized?
So we're going to come down from the dais at this time. We have a very special proclamation, so come on down.
You got it, right?
Well, yeah, I got that. I got Hanukkah.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know what Dave got.
So, gotta do this a little different. Tommy, you gonna pick us up on this?
Go the other way, Chris. Go the other way.
Test one, two. Put it on there in the palm.
You gotta hit.
Got it? Okay, very good. All right, we got enough cord, come on over, Rob. All right, so it's not often we get to do this, and I think about 4 or 5 years ago, started this thing called the Super Senior Luncheon, everybody's aware of that. And it started out that we were honoring those folks who were 90 years and above and having a special luncheon for them over at the Renaissance. It was really a beautiful day, we had music for them, entertainment. Lately, they've been putting wine out, they've been drinking it. So, but it's very well attended, and I lowered the age this year to 85, and we even got more, had over 125 attendees. And every year at that function, we have about 2 or 3 people who are 100 years old or better. So it's really cool to see these folks coming out and involved with the town and share a little story with us. So today we're honoring another person. She unfortunately just couldn't be with us today. She tried, but she just wasn't feeling well enough. Miss Peg Hildebrand. And Peg worked with the township for years and been involved in Ocean Township for many, many years. So I have here with receiving this award for her, or this proclamation, her son Skippy. I'm going to call Skip up here while we read these in. Come on up, Skip. Give it up for Skip Hildebrand, everybody. Come on over, Skip. So Skip, you and I, our families go back a long ways.
Yeah.
And, in fact, one thing I remember about your family when I was a kid, and this is a good story because you always see those raffles they have, like the churches and the synagogues and whatnot, and everybody buys a big golden ticket. Well, the Hildebrand family won one of those, right? They won a car. Remember the station wagon?
Yeah, it was an old Plymouth station wagon, and it wouldn't have been a car my father would have bought, but he certainly wasn't going to turn that down.
That was the greatest thing. Like, wow, somebody we know finally won something. That was pretty cool.
That was St. Mary's Church raffle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was worth the ticket. What was it, $5?
Yeah, but, no, back then probably $1.
So, Skip, your mom, we have a little something for her here. We're going to read it. It's a proclamation honoring her 100th birthday and also her contributions here to the township because she worked here, as you know. And so, Margaret Peggy Hildebrand began her employment here at the Ocean Township in 1966 in the finance department and remained a valuable member of the township family through her retirement at payroll services right on June 30th, 1989. And we asked a few people about Peg that worked with her back then. We found a couple still around. And they mentioned that Peg was wry, salty, very direct. She didn't hold back. You know, she was all those things. And at 100, I can tell you, worse. That's Skippy Peg, in case you're watching. But upon her hire in 1966, Peg quickly became involved and a valuable, dependable employee with whom the coworkers relied on to provide guidance, support, and encouragement, which enabled them to better perform their jobs. She was a true team player. The caring persona that Peggy exhibited as an employee, now they're telling all these nice things here, as a township devotion carried on to her endeavors, including her service to the church, St. Mary's and Deal, and to the Deborah Hospital. And throughout her life, Peg Hildebrand continuously gave herself to the community, her church, and above all herself, her beloved family, which included Frank, her sons Gary, Skippy, and all have been blessed and loved by Peg and shown on a daily basis. So now therefore be it proclaimed that the governing body of Township of Ocean, we hereby extend our heartfelt congratulations to Margaret Peggy Hildebrand on the auspicious occasion of her 100th birthday and wish her continued health and happiness for many, many years. So we want to present you with that on behalf of Mom. If you'd accept that. our friends, we told a few friends about Peg's 100th birthday, and they also want to send a little something over. So we have a little something here from the joint legislature of the state of New Jersey, from our local senator, Bingo Powell, our assembly member, Eric Hotelin, and Joanne Downey, and they too want to acknowledge Peg on her 100th birthday, and just let you know that they're thinking about her and wishing her too many, many years of good health and prosperity. So we want to present that to you on Mom's behalf as well. Give it up for everybody. And for anything you'd like to add about Mom and how she got to be 100 years old? What was it? Was her own
With
cooking?
me as a son, it was a miracle.
I guess she did something right, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, what you were saying just about being straightforward and held no punches, she's still that way. I mean, I take some of her attributes and we go at it tooth and nail quite a bit.
So she's a good person to go back and forth with.
Oh, yeah.
You keep her
absolutely.
sharp and she keeps you sharper.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, wish Mom happy birthday on behalf of
will.
the mayor, council, and the senate, and everybody else. And thank you for coming and
Oh, thank
getting
you.
that for us. Thanks, Skip. Good seeing you again.
Same here.
Okay, we're gonna go back up to the dais and continue our business.
And Skip, could you wish her a happy birthday from me as well?
Yes.
Over here. I used to hang out with the two Pegs back in the day. Peggy Stout, was it?
Yeah. Mhm.
Did, we're gonna get a picture, we need to get a picture for the coaster, maybe we should go back down. Get quick one back there. You got a phone? Skip, we're gonna ask you to come on up again, we need to get a picture for the paper.
Okay.
All right, Mom, you wanna come up and be on this Peg's friend? Come on.
I don't know, I got to clear with the witness protection program. They don't want me to get pictures.
We got your picture.
Hey, at the bank, you make it work, make sure it works still.
What happened?
Hands up.
Ready? Sounds good.
All right, all right.
Great.
That's good.
Again, thank you.
We're gonna release you of your duties. You don't have to stay and listen to town business if you don't like to.
Okay.
Take my mom home.
Yeah, I got to go back to pay.
It's
too good looking?
Put the wealth. Okay, this is John Huss. He probably remembers Peg, huh? John? He does. I figured you would.
Hey, number one.
Yeah, old council member back there, John Huss. He does remember Peggy Hildebrand working here. So, we're going to get right on to the purpose of the public portion of this meeting is solely ask questions, understand resolutions that appear on the agenda, not an occasion for public hearing on an ordinance. All questions not related to an item on this agenda should be asked during the public comments portion at the conclusion of the meeting. That being said, does anybody have anything on the consent agenda, minutes, or resolutions? Come on. And vouchers, come on up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Come on up.
Don Geiger, 1108 Grassmere. Start out, actually for change, again, on resolutions. On 19217, I kind of skimmed through it. And a piece he says, that's not a bad idea, so people go on and on and on. However,
Yeah, I kind of, I really labored over this, and I'll tell you, I've been to other towns where they have 3 minutes, one bite of the apple, the whole night. No matter what your issue is, you come up one time in 3 minutes. I said, we discussed it, let's give folks 3 minutes on agenda items, 3 minutes on ordinance items, and then 5 minutes at the end of the meeting. So you have 11 minutes to really say your piece. And if things are that bad, come on in and see us.
okay. And
If you need more time, then you gotta come see us.
I don't mind doing that. Also, I just want to understand, I know what it says. On 19210, what exactly is an MVR flashback high-def camera system for SF Mobile Vision?
Okay, so police cars, Mike, you
Yeah.
wanna elaborate?
Yeah, they're cameras for the police cars.
Okay. high tech, I guess.
High definition, yeah, all
The whole
the good
deal.
stuff.
Okay, because they ain't cheap.
No.
All right, now moving on to the bills list. Let's start out with number 3. East Coast Car Wash of Ocean. Was it really that bad that we had to detail the senior van?
That is the van that we got from the county. We had to do a little work into it, a little mechanical work, and then we wanted to get it polished up and detailed and looking.
The whole bit. In other words, it didn't look that good when we got it from the county.
No, we had to put some stuff, a lot of stuff into it, yeah.
Are we gonna send a bill to the county?
No, it was free though, the bus was free.
Well, be careful when you get that word. But I'll move along. Number 11, I'm just trying to find out what is ANJEC?
It's a recreation organization. It was for dues for 7 members.
Oh,
of the
that's not
recreation
bad,
department.
7. Okay. And number 15, do you know how many trees? Because that was $2,500.
There were multiple ones. It was off of Appleby.
Okay, well, you don't have an exact.
No,
But-
it was several.
Okay. And 17, Atlantic Coast Fibers. Single stream, doesn't tell me a lot, September 2019, almost $27,000.
It's recycling. That's where we have to drop it off at. And
Right.
if you've read the news lately in the last year or two.
Yeah, China doesn't want it
Not
unless
taking
it's
it.
almost 100% pure.
Yeah.
Okay. And 18, Axon Enterprise, Police Department taser training cartridges. Do you know approximately how many we got?
I don't know how many, but they have to be certified to use a taser for
Right.
non-lethal takedowns.
Okay, so these are training,
Training ones.
so you can
You can shoot the person, it's not gonna mess
do
them
what,
up. Yeah.
much do, okay. And can you give me any more information? What it says is clear. 24, biosystems, cleaning trucks and loaders.
We, as part of the stormwater regs that came into effect years ago,
Yeah.
we have to clean the trucks on a routine basis, and you can't have a certain amount of like sludge basically that comes off the vehicle. So you have to clean them with basically like the specific type of cleaning solutions.
I'll do those ones. Okay, and then 38, very desk, adjustable desk for almost $361. Who got that puppy? Do you know?
I believe that was in the construction department.
The one that you can raise and
Yes.
lower and stand up and
Yeah.
more, supposed to be better for you?
Yes.
I thought Tommy
And-
Crusoe ordered that one.
Did you?
That I'm done.
All right.
Like that, Mike.
Now, I think I know what this is, but I'll let you clarify for me. 41, Claire Villanova, flexible medical. That's where you pay in so much?
Yeah, one of the, we have several different plans for the state health benefits plan that we belong to, and one of them is a high deductible plan.
Right.
Since the cost of it is so much less for the town, we make a payment into their bank for it,
Right.
basically.
Okay, I thought I knew, but I wanted to make sure. And then 43, Concept Professional Audio Services for,
I believe that was for the court, the municipal court.
and moving right along, Eagle Truck Equipment. Now, what the heck is the Scarab Drum Unit Flails and Part?
That is, the scarab is where they put the big chunks of wood that it spins around and breaks them up into smaller
It's a
pieces.
big grinder.
Yeah.
Big grinder. Okay. Why did I say grinder? It's easier to understand the thing. Now, can it help someone else help me understand? 57 and 58. Why is there about actually it is $130 difference between one physical and the other physical? I mean, a physical is a physical, isn't it?
One of them is for The second one, SLE03, is
Right.
for a retired police officer who isn't going to have the responsibilities that a regular on-duty
Full-time?
officer. But yeah, the threes are the ones that are in schools.
Okay, it just, never mind, that's just me. And then, I know what they're doing, but that's an awful lot of money, it's 61, October 2019, recap and service, Edwards Tire.
We had a lot of issues with tires. That's
Yeah, I can
all I
see
can
that.
tell you. Yeah.
Okay, and right on the top of the next page, 63, easy golf cart. Now, pull carts for the golf course, what?
We rent golf carts.
Right,
for
but
them.
what is a pull
That's the
cart?
one you put your bag on yourself and you can.
Pull it?
Yeah,
And drag it
you
around?
walk like
Okay.
it says.
Do you know offhand how many we bought for a little bit over 2,000 bucks?
No, I don't.
Okay. And
One for Doug.
74.
You're costing me now, Tom.
Hey, no, you should know me by now. Garden State Highway products. Blinker, stop sign, solar operated. Where was that placed, do you know?
Marchwood
Marchwood.
and, Marchwood Avenue.
Okay, see. And now, 85, fencing / Mallard Road. Almost 12,000 bucks, that's up.
There was a large detention basin over there that had to be cleaned out and basically became an attraction for some kids in the neighborhood.
Skateboarders, maybe?
So we had to make it as kid-proof as we could.
Right.
And that meant putting fencing all around it so nobody could get in there.
We had money for that.
We did utilize money that was set aside
Yeah.
for an association fee for that development at one time that dissolved.
Okay.
So we were able to take that money out, which is still a little bit left,
Alright.
and use that for that.
Well, that's good news. And 103, what is a UCC form?
Uniform Construction Code.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. And now, here's another one, 110 and 111. What is the cost difference between uniforms?
They're so close, it's probably size. Maybe one's a small, one's an extra large, an extra
Yeah, I know, they're close, but almost 500 bucks,
extra
okay.
materials.
Okay. And, now, Mako, the very first one, 125. Is that our cost share or deductible, what's going on with that?
That's ours. We hit a deer. So we had to get
Poor
that fixed.
Bambi. And actually, right underneath it, I take it, those are the 3 new Durangos that we
That we purchased
purchased
previously.
recently. Okay, just want to make sure. And 139. I know she has some position somewhere. Office supplies, CSD 583.95.
Those are a lot of what she does. It has to be on specialized forms, state forms for confidentiality purposes, things like
All
that.
that good stuff. Okay. And 153. New Jersey School Age Care Coalition. Now, conference registration for 1 person, 2, 20?
It was 1 person, and it was for the Project Extend.
Okay. And then right underneath it, 154, Police Department mid-year conference meeting. 1 person, just the chief, or?
It was the chief, 2 captains, and 2 of the lieutenants.
Okay, that money must have been. And then there's also 158, accreditation conference. Was that for more than 1 person?
That was 2, Lieutenant Skank and Officer Atunias.
Okay. And what, I know it's New Jersey something other, NJRPA, the registration cost.
That was recreation, that was for 1 person, Jen Nordstrom.
Okay. And 168, again, this is police department obvious, crisis communication training. Someone calls up, like the thing reported on the news. Where are you? Well, I'm in this hotel. They couldn't find. Okay,
What
but
about
how to
Dan on
handle
Broadway?
when someone calls,
For the
maybe they're
dispatcher.
having a seizure, who knows what, okay. And then 177, EMS refresher training, 244. Do you know how many people went to that?
It was probably the several that we have that are EMS certified.
Okay,
So it's more than one.
okay. And, now, there are 203 and 204, printing services, and there's different invoices. You wouldn't have to know what was printed
203.
in 204.
These are probably like construction plans because of the pricing.
Okay.
That type of stuff.
And continuing along 208, do you know approximately how many trees for almost 10,000 bucks?
Know that it was a lot.
I feel so much better. And 218, forensic training for the lieutenant. I take it as, I recognize the initials.
For police.
Yeah. It was just one person.
Yes.
If I'm remembering correctly. Okay. 239. What the heck is OPEB-GASB 75 for 7,000 bucks?
That is, GASB is like financial accounting
Okay.
stuff that has to be complied with. This probably has to do with part of the auditing.
Okay. No relation to the Great Gatsby.
No.
No, okay. And 246. Now, who got the finance chair?
Oh,
Someone in finance, I would hope.
I'm sure it was probably Mr. Gallagher.
I might harass Mr. Gallagher and say, did you try BJ? I mean, that's some nice chairs for less than that, but just saying. And 249, what exactly is the EOC supplies? Equal Opportunity Commission? Maybe not.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on it.
Okay.
The emergency operating,
Two hits.
Okay. And just a quick question, actually, because I already saw in the resolutions for how long. On 252, do we get any rebates for when they're wrong?
No,
On what? Well, okay.
they're 100% perfect.
Yeah. Sure. And I've got a bridge in Brooklyn I can sell you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else on resolutions or voucher items that appear on the agenda? Seeing and hearing no one, someone please offer the consent agenda and the vouchers. Or just consent agenda.
I'll offer the consent agenda and the vouchers.
Second?
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitano.
Yes to everything except for 19-203. I'm going to abstain on that since I'm not a member of the foundation.
Council members Achara.
Yes.
Donovan.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
And Mayor Siciliano.
Yes, and the vouchers you approve are for $12,255,492.54. Also, we have resolution, oh, a second on the vouchers?
I'll make a motion on the vouchers to approve.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitano.
Yes.
Council members Achara.
Yes.
Donovan.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
And Mayor Siciliano.
Yes, 19207, authorize a change of custodian of the petty cash for the Police Department Criminal Investigation Bureau. Someone please offer.
I'll offer resolution 19-207.
Second.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitano.
Yes.
Council members Achara.
Yes.
Donovan.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
And Mayor Siciliano.
Yes, 19208, authorize the increase in the contract to recap and tires, accessories, and road services awarded to Edwards Tire Company, Inc. by $25,000, bringing the total contract amount to $67,065. Someone please offer.
I'll offer resolution 19-208.
Second.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitano.
Yes.
Council members Achara.
Yes.
Donovan.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
And Mayor Siciliano.
Yes, 19209, authorize the purchase of installation of 2 shade structures for the Township Ocean Community Pool and Tennis Facility from General Recreation, Inc. at a cost not to exceed $11,868. Someone please offer.
I'll offer 19-209.
Second.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Yes.
Council members Achara.
Yes.
Donlin.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
And Mayor Sosiano.
Yes, 19210, authorize the purchase of 3 MVR flashback HD camera systems from SF Mobile Vision, state contract number T0106, 17 Fleet 00731, at a cost not to exceed $12,802.50. Someone please offer.
I'll offer 19211.
Second.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Yes.
Council members Achara.
Yes.
Donlin.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
And Mayor Sosiano.
Yes, 19211, authorize the extension of a contract with WeatherWorks for the period December 1st, 2019 through November 30th, 2020, at a cost not to exceed $1,995. Someone please offer.
I'll offer 19211.
Second.
Second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Yes.
Council members Achara.
Yes.
Donlin.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
And Mayor Sosiano.
Yes, and 19212, authorize a 2-month extension of a contract with Gila LLC, doing business as MSB Government Services, to provide private collection of municipal court debt. Someone please offer.
I'll offer 19212.
Second.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Yes.
Council members Achara.
Yes.
Donlin.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
And Mayor Sosiano.
Yes, 19213, authorize the extension of a contract with Custom Care Services, Inc. for the maintenance on a bank-owned and abandoned properties at a cost not to exceed $10,000 for the period ending December 31st, 2019. Someone please offer.
I'll offer 19213.
Second.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Yes.
Council members Achara.
Yes.
Donlin.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
And Mayor Sosiano.
Yes, 19214, authorize the tax collector to place a lien on the following properties to abate public health issuance. And these are from A through J at a cost of $62.50. And then K at a cost of $112.50. Someone please offer.
I'll offer 19214.
Second.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Yes.
Council members Achara.
Yes.
Donlin.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
And Mayor Sosiano.
Yes, and resolution 19218, authorize the tax collector to issue refunds and credits to those taxpayers who have received favorable state tax appeal judgments. Someone please offer.
I'll offer 19218.
Second.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Yes.
Council members Achara.
Yes.
Donlin.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
And Mayor Sosiano.
Yes, and tonight we have for adoption ordinance number 2326. Ben, would you read the title, please?
An ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 7 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Ocean entitled Property Maintenance and Housing.
Great. Someone please open the public hearing on ordinance number 2326.
I'll open the public hearing on ordinance 2326.
Second.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Yes.
Council members Achara.
Yes.
Donlin.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
And Mayor Sosiano.
Yes, anybody wishing to be heard on ordinance number 2326, please step up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Seeing or hearing no one, someone please close the public hearing on ordinance 2326.
I make a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 2326.
Second.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Yes.
Council members Achara.
Yes.
Donlin.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
And Mayor Sosiano.
Yes, action please on ordinance number 2326.
I move to approve ordinance 2326, and what do you guys want me to say?
Adopt ordinance, publish according to law.
Publish according to law.
Second.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Yes.
Council members Achara.
Yes.
Donlin.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
And Mayor Sosiano.
Yes, it's been approved. At this time, does anybody have anything germane to Ocean Township business? Or you wish to compliment us at all, anything? Come up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Can we talk on any subject?
Anything? Yeah, come on up, state your name and address for the record. and Have at it.
Obviously. I like this podium. Maybe you can consider keeping it. It's nice we have a lot of papers and things like that. This is my husband Bobby. I'm Cheryl Miller, 41 Branch Road in Oakhurst. And before I begin what I was going to be talking about, I just want to mention you mentioned the school age conference that was part of the voucher list. And I work for Project Extend in town. Been doing it for maybe, say, 6 years, love it. And I've had the opportunity to attend this School Age Child Care Coalition conference a few times, and it's really worthwhile.
Oh, great.
There's several workshops. I know it's kind of pricey. Didn't get to go this year, but there's workshops, keynote speakers, and you get to be with other people. You can network and people that are doing the same type of job that you are doing, and you learn the latest techniques and share ideas. It's just great, so I just wanted to say that. I saw this in the list and
Thanks,
spoke
Cheryl.
about it. All right. I'm here tonight out of concern for the deer in our town and have some comments. It's my understanding that you are still in the discussion stage of the council about a deer management policy that might include killing them, even though non-lethal methods received the higher number of votes in the recent referendum. I know it's like about 306 votes different, if I'm
Well,
correct. something
then
like
there was another part of that that I don't think people really paid attention to was,
that. Okay.
the question was how many were for lethal, and that was maybe 900, I'm just throwing a number out here.
Right.
Non-lethal, maybe 1,700, and then there was a both.
Yes.
And the both, you have to include to think that those people are okay with lethal as well. So you might have to add that
Yes.
number to
A little,
lethal.
yeah, I wanted to
Then
kind
it
of,
exceeds the non-lethal.
right, I wanted to kind of talk about that.
Okay.
It puzzles me why non-lethal was even a choice for the voters if it's not going to be seriously considered as a viable option.
No one said that.
Okay, that's good.
No one's ever said that. That's why it was on the referendum.
Okay. Now, the council was briefed in advance by a rep from the State Department of Environmental Protection's Bureau of Wildlife Management about the high costs of sterilization and the challenges involved. Yet still included this question, and I feel that there's still a hesitation to act on this route after the fact. And I feel that the wording of the choices should have been simplified to, number one, do nothing, 2, sterilization, or 3, kill them. By combining lethal with non-lethal, it seemed to me that it muddied the waters and created uncertainty about how many deer would be killed or spared, by what method, by whom, and where. And even if you hire hunters, there's still a cost to that. Studies show that bow hunting is inhumane and wasteful. The possibility of a deer being impaled by a broadhead arrow and then dying instantaneously is extremely slight. The majority of deer suffer prolonged, painful deaths when they are injured but not killed by the hunters. Wounding and crippling losses are inevitable. Many are never recovered. One hunter who attended the August 13th council meeting estimated bow hunting accuracy to be 5 to 10%. And a deer can run up for miles before it bleeds out. Most do not recover from their wounds. Rather, they routinely die from hemorrhaging, contract peritonitis, or a septic infection. The arrows themselves are razor sharp and designed to cause as much damage as possible. They are horrible even to look at, let alone imagine the prolonged and agonizing pain that deer feels as it tears into its flesh. And I was looking on the internet the other night at an Amazon website on the different broadhead arrows. It's just horrendous to look at them. They're just, to me, instruments of torture and death. They look like something out of some horror movie. You have to look at them for yourself. Take a look, and there's various ones for various animals. In fact, we have, Bobby's going to show you something. We have a neighbor across the street, a former hunter. He hasn't hunted in about 30 years, and he shared with us this broadhead arrow.
I'll bring something to show you. And as you can see, here, there are also slits in here. So you also insert various blades in. So when it goes in, it will go in and even destroy the animal even further.
Okay, if you're gonna speak though, because we're not picking up on the mic.
Why
I'm
don't you
sorry.
talk to, can you kind of piggyback on me? Okay.
Talking to the mic, Bob, that's what's.
So, yeah, so basically, this is the arrow. We borrowed this from our neighbor to show you. And there are slits in there where you would insert additional blades. And when it goes in, it would even destroy the animal even more, it'd be more horrific. And so this is another reason why we're so against the hunting, because it's not just a shot and an immediate death, it's a lot of suffering involved. So,
I wanted to add some more if I could have.
You're not gonna let him talk, Cheryl? Or Bobby,
This
quickly
is
to
like Coleman.
quickly to come here. He said, I got a chance.
Okay, he said his part. Here's some paper. Also, our neighbor said that this would be shot from a compound, what they call a compound bow, and there's 50 to 60 pounds of pressure per square inch applied when these are shot, and they can move at 10 feet per second, so that's pretty fast. And they're designed to break bones, ribs, the spine, and as like Bobby said too, just tear up the lungs. And even my neighbor said as they run, it just kind of, I can't even hardly say it, like turns around in them and destroys, shreds the lungs. I may use that word. It's just really horrific to even think that we would be considering that kind of thing here. Let's see. So instead of letting the silent agony take place, maybe I may sound facetious and I don't advocate it, but you might want to just use bullets and let the people who want this killing done actually hear what is being done. Another thing I wanted to mention is, and I mean no disrespect here, but one of the council members in the November 21st Poster article about this subject said that, was quoted as saying, "Too many deer are causing havoc in our township and people want something done." Now, I know we have a problem, I recognize that, but I think the use of that word is extreme and might plant a seed, a negative seed in people's heads and say, oh yeah, you know, we have real havoc in town, because havoc is really chaos, mayhem, disorder, or great confusion. And we and our neighbors, we're not dodging deer or afraid as we go about our daily activities, because we have lived for 35 years next to a wooded area. And we just don't feel that things are that out of control. In fact, we enjoy watching and coexisting with the deer. Now, on just a last note, for those citizens who want to keep their yards deer-free, I saw an ad for fencing that is said to keep deer off properties. I am not advocating any fencing company. I have the ad with me if anyone's interested in seeing it. And I called the company, and it's a heavy-duty material, 7.5 feet high, and set with metal chain link posts, and it won't impale the deer. There's nothing like on top to impale them. And once installed, it's virtually invisible against the landscaping. And again, if anyone wants to see the ad, I thank you for your consideration. And as you can tell, I feel so strongly both do about this. And
I'd like to add one thing also.
Yes, you have to ask
I
her.
think I'll let him. I think I'll let him add.
Let them have the last word.
Now they know how things are in the Miller home. But anyway, you know, many hunters consider themselves sportsmen.
More than like.
Many hunters consider themselves sportsmen. But the deer here are not, they're wild, but they're not so afraid of the people. And they're not like on the run constantly. A lot of times they stand there as we walk in the house, they're standing right by watching us. How sporting can it be when there's no challenge to shooting a deer like that? So it's not even a sporting type of event to me. It's just killing for no reason. So, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both.
Just for the record, before any action is taken, we are going to have a guest come and talk about non-lethal methods as well, as we promised. And that is probably, we're looking at this last meeting in January. We don't have a definite yet. We have to confirm with them, so.
I know it's pricey, but
Microphone.
I know it's expensive to consider that, but I really feel, I think Chris sort of alluded to this in a recent article, let's just give it a try. Let's just try it and see if it helps before we go to anything else.
It's all on the table, good,
Okay.
thanks. So no decisions been made, I didn't want you to think that.
Thank
we're
you
out
all.
there allowing all that. Anybody else have anything? Yes, Mr. Sullivan, come up to the microphone. State your name and address for the record.
Yeah, my name is Edward Vincent Colleen Frederick Sullivan. I reside at 721 Corley's Avenue in Ocean Township. I know you all know why I'm here. I guess I differ from you, but I believe all single-family zoning ordinances are unconstitutional because of private property rights. I know we differ on that. I know we differ. My house was condemned, meaning nobody can go in it except with a building official to remove the items. The town says it's based on structural defects in our basement. Tom Gironda, who is the housing official, back in the spring, because the town's been visiting me a lot, and he said, you know, sometime you're gonna have to do something about this. But he didn't say what time. I was given a letter giving me 8 to 10 days, I really don't remember, to have a licensed architect or a licensed structural engineer certify that my basement is safe structurally, electrically, and plumbing wise. Well, it's only by the grace of God that I was able to get somebody over there to look at it, and this gentleman said, yes, it does need to be fixed, but there's no imminent danger, immediate danger, as in basically they came to us after Mass. I got home, I was going to have a cup of coffee, and officer, very polite she was, but she said, we got to see you. And we were given till 4 o'clock for everybody to leave the premises, including myself. We went to social services because the need was the homelessness was created by the actions of the town, the council here, and we were told that the township was not going to assist because all the occupancy, everybody there was there illegally. So it's a few little things that I don't believe are kosher. It sure has affected me. I've been living, in my van, basically doing the things that I got cited for, like letting somebody stay in the driveway because they had nowhere to go. This is a dangerous precedent because it's really not yes, occupancy rules, yes, safety rules, but it really is not government's business who I choose to have as guests in my home. I can't do pro-life work. If somebody's being forced to have an abortion, I can't house them. If an older person I know gets sick and I want to care for them, like I did for my wife when she died, and her ex-husband, by the way, he became back to faith and died as my buddy and as my friend, I can't do that. This does not seem right. It happened at the end of the month. Some people don't realize I do a lot better with bills in the beginning of the month than the end. I was basically forced to leave, really didn't have any money. We had to concentrate on helping the people that really have to have a place. And I'm still homeless, and I have a very lovely home in Ocean Township that I was told that structure could be shored up until we get the recommendations of Mark Remy, who's a structural engineer, on what should be done. And there's a difference between must and should. And I realize even if you wanted to change it, you can't now because of the liability deadlock It is a fruit of abortion. We have dead babies, wounded women, broken families in a scared country, and everybody's afraid of liability because thou shalt not bear false witnesses, just being annoyed, is being ignored. And it's a little like this impeachment proceedings against our president. Building was used to basically kick out the poor people. I didn't get rid of the trash, so the town did it for me. And it's really heartbreaking. I mean, I bleed for the people, and I love God and other people more than myself. I can manage. But, you know, women and children were thrown to the street, and the danger's not imminent. And I'm just baffled. I don't worry about it too much, because in 50 years, we're all going to be dead, and there's death, judgment, heaven or hell. But it's basically demonic romper room here, and I know some people laugh at me. So be it, but it's cold outside, and this did happen at a time when I had no money. It was that time of the month, nobody cared to ask. A few people have been placed, one or two people. Eleanor's better off, she got housing at the Viking House. Other people simply don't qualify for services for one reason or another. We do a minimum in Monmouth County for people that are hard to place. At the Fort Monmouth, there are 12 beds for women and 4 for men. And it's not so easy to place families. And I was cooperating to the best of my ability. Thank God Marie moved out before all this took place. This was a shocker to me. I'm a little tired. I probably don't look that great. Very glad I got cataracts fixed, but I'm riding back and forth to Philly, living in a van. It just doesn't seem right. No, poor me. I'm the happiest guy in the world. You know, grace supersedes evil, but this is not something that I would be proud of. The structure is something that I was told could be stabilized to the point of fixing it. And basically now I'm in a situation where I have to wait for Mark Reamy, and I hope the township will come in when he comes in. He can't tell me when he's coming, Monday, to look at it in terms of giving me a structural recommendation to remedy this, the problem. Right now I have to get it like RP, Ryan Perfect. I have to do exactly what he says. Hope I get a permit, and that's questionable. I'm going to get one, but whether it's going to be issued to me, I don't know. Then do the work, and then maybe be allowed to get in my house. I also truly don't understand the abandoned property regulations. If I don't do that, in 45 days, they're going to bulldoze my property? They're going to bulldoze it. It says it in writing. If I don't get this done in 45 days, they're going to bulldoze my property. I'll be able to do it, probably, but what about the person who doesn't have money? We're all living basically on the foreign dollar. If you've looked at the trade deficit lately, and most of the jobs are government. Our president's trying to change it, but for doing that, for standing up for life, he's facing impeachment, which is a bogus agenda of malarkey. And I kind of feel that having my house condemned, where I'm told to get out, when I got no money, it's cold, by the grace of God, my van's still running, and someone's willing to let us now sleep in their living room because the heater can't be fixed. This doesn't seem like what we're supposed to be about. I don't ask a lot of you guys. I've been trying to cooperate. My house is condemned. I cannot even go in my house without a police officer there with the building officials. And I'm totally at their mercy, and I'm like homeless, 721 Corley's, Ed Sullivan's homeless, and so is everybody else that lived here. I really don't understand, but I'm totally convinced that building was used to kick the people to the curb. And it's just not right, it's not fair, it's not good, it doesn't make any sense. I just don't understand why I can't stay in my house. And the legal system now, and they gotta change it, by the way, you don't have to be a lawyer to be governor, stuff like that. There's too much of a legal entrenchment. I know if you all wanted to change this, you don't even have the power to do it now, because nobody wants to be responsible. But again, it was not necessary to basically condemn our home over this. And I'm not against government jobs, but there was a time, like the Agricultural Extension Society
Mr. Sullivan.
is to help you how to solve problems that benefit everybody, not kick me out of my house and my stepson and his son and everyone there. I was thrown out of my house. And yes, this is despicable. This is not good. It's not what's supposed to be. This is not representative government up by and for the people. This is wrong. The public has to know this is wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. Not good, not cool. Nobody talked to me. Threw me out on the street at the end of the month in my home. This is, we safe in camps. This is not what's supposed to be happening in the United States of America and the great state of New Jersey. This is abuse, this is illegal, it's immoral, and it's just plain wrong! Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Anybody else have anything? I think this young lady would like to speak. You spoke long enough. You'll get another chance, so.
Been a long time since I've been at the council meeting. The last time I was with my dad. He was in real estate for a long time.
We need your name and address for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Natalie Cosine. I live at 721 Corley's Avenue. I've been a resident of Monmouth County, and I met Ed through my own hardship. Mr. Sullivan took me into his home after losing my dad from sepsis, and I haven't seen my daughters only 3 times in 8 years. I'm so sorry. I didn't think this was going to be emotional.
It's all right, take your time.
So, living in a van and trying to run a business to get close to your daughters again. I've been absent from my daughters because I went to jail for driving while suspended to go see my dying dad. So I apologize if I sound all over the place. Mr. Sullivan took me in when my ex-husband went his own way after my dad was sick and my mom was sick, and I was a caretaker for both my parents. So it's a little heart-wrenching to be a part of this right now because Mr. Sullivan has helped a lot of people, and with his full heart, never asked for anything, never asked for any money, never asked to buy any food in the house. Everybody was trying to make their own way and try to get on their feet. When you don't make the right choices in life, it takes a very great effect on yourself. I, however, married a man that was abusive in his own way to myself and to my daughters. I got rid of him. And I was fully devoted to my daughters, now 13 and 15. I thought I could do this with no tears. My family, after my dad died, they went their own way. Mr. Sullivan, again, has stepped up and provided housing when I lived in state housing after losing my dad and making the wrong choice of going to see my dad before he died. I got caught driving while suspended. Foolish me, I should have never got behind the wheel. I'm working on getting my license back, and it's very hard to get yourself back on your feet, start a business, work from a van, or work from somebody's home. And again, this affects myself, my children, and starting anew. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, I apologize for my emotions. I really wish that it would be granted that Mr. Sullivan have at least a month or 45 days to fix the situation, because I heard over the time of his conversation with the engineer that it wasn't that bad, but it needed to be rectified. So Mr. Sullivan said he was willing to take care of it, but nobody knew, this was going to be the outcome, and he was trying to place everybody in a better situation. Everybody was going to social services, myself included, and I was denied. Again, I was a part of the state housing. I lived in 501 Park Place, wasn't the most prettiest of sight. I came from a beautiful home. I had my own townhouse in Freehold on 4 Homes Court. Again, my parents lived in Freehold, New Jersey for over 15 years. It's just very emotional, because again, you don't see, hindsight is 20/20. If I knew what I knew then, I would have made the right choices. Again, I met Mr. Sullivan getting a cup of coffee, at Bradley Beach Quick Check, and I was standing by myself, wondering, my family's not talking to me because of my father having, made certain choices that nobody agreed with, and he didn't make the right choices in his life. And if he said, if I only knew what I knew then, I would have made the right choices. But again, I stress to you that Mr. Sullivan has done everything in his power to try to place people in a better situation. They were trying to get themselves in a better situation. There's a 7-year-old boy right now out on the streets, and nobody knows where they are. He's going to school, maybe he's hungry. His mother and father are trying to get into a place, and nobody's helping him. So where is the help now? I mean, God helps those who help themselves. Again, Mr. Sullivan, I stress to him and you and members of the board that it's an emotional breakdown of what he's gone through. Nobody knew that he was going to be going through this. We were all trying to get on our feet, making the right choices, and everybody was being turned away. A 7-year-old boy is going to school from the streets in his car, and nobody's helping them. But I was a single mom. I got rid of my husband. I took my daughters to social services. My aunt took me in for a period of time, but wasn't able to keep me because she lives in a retirement community. So I went down to social services. Everybody has a rough time of it. So I went down to social services, and social services took me into a hotel. That was then. That was over 8 years ago. Left the hotel, went to another hotel, and I parted my ways from my daughters 8 years ago. I went into the state housing, and I met Ed Sullivan at a local store, and a year into housing, and that was it. I overstayed, and they can't help me out anymore. Getting yourself back on your feet is rough. When you devote your entire time, I'm not patting myself on the back or anything, my mom got sick with congestive heart failure. On my father's side, my mom had a hemorrhagic stroke out in Atlantic City in 2006, and a year later my father gets sick with congestive heart failure and has a heart transplant, and he's being put on the list, and he neglected to take care of his medicine. His sister passes away, and the gist of the story is that everyone has a story, and mine, you know, I'm grateful and thankful for Ed Sullivan to open up his home. You know, we all maintained it, cleaned up, ate dinner like a family. Ed took no money in from anyone. He wasn't running us, you know, he provided home, a shelter, we laughed, you know, we talked, we planned in case of worst situation. We were all going to social services, looking for homes, looking for jobs. I look at Mr. Sullivan like a second dad. Okay, after losing your dad, just, you know, someone that was very close to you, had a good heart. My dad had a good heart like Mr. Sullivan, and he would have done the same thing, give the shirt off his back. And it's emotional. It's emotional to know that my wish that the board would allow Mr. Sullivan to go back into his home and give him at least 30 to 45 days to fix.
Natalie, it's not our call to do that. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but the home's been condemned by a structural engineer, regardless of how severe or not, enough that they recommended that everybody get out of the home. So
Let me just,
But the engineer did
let me interrupt for a second, okay? You know, this isn't a 3-month process, or a 5-month process, or a 6-month process. This has been going on for 3 years, okay? I've been involved for probably a year and a half. The house was declared unsafe for human occupation. Now, and I don't know what the engineer said to you or to Mr. Sullivan, but I can tell you that at least what I'm told from our people is that the engineer told them the house was not safe for human occupation. He didn't say, you know, give him 45 days to repair or anything. He said, the house is not safe. And frankly, the people who've inspected this house on several occasions have felt the house was unsafe, but they didn't make an effort initially to kick Mr. Sullivan and everybody else out of the house based on that, but they were concerned that at some point, because they've expressed these concerns, somebody's going to get really hurt in that house because of how the floorboards are. I don't know all the details, but I do know that the inspectors have said for quite some time, this house is unsafe. You know, and when the engineer came in from Mr. Sullivan, he confirmed with our people that he felt the house was unsafe. I don't know what he said to you. I don't know what he said to Mr. Sullivan. I can only tell you what they've told me he said to them. Okay. So this has been, you know, there are other issues with the house. There are other, you know, putting a wall up separating where his stepson lived with his son. That was improper, done without any approvals, which makes it a two-family house that it's not zoned for. There are numerous people living in the driveway in a van. There are numerous different violations, probably a half dozen to a dozen, that we've been dealing with for, like I said, 3 years. And you live in, there's a neighborhood. There are neighbors that live there, and frankly, we get constant complaints from a bunch of different neighbors, many of whom have testified in the court proceedings.
I
So,
remember leaving Mr. Sullivan's home for a year, going to take care of a gentleman with Alzheimer's and dementia in Freehold at a residence of Mr. Peck's house. And I lived there, and I didn't take off, and it was illegal, I know it, but my employer let me stay in his home a paid new, a lot of people accepted free room board. I was saving, putting money away, should have saved a lot more. Mr. Peck provided me with a home and taking care of his father, trusted me with his loved one, and I took that into consideration to think that he was my loved one. Stayed up all night, taking care of him, and after that year was up, Mr. Sullivan took me back in.
I think the point here is, no one here is doubting the fact that Mr. Sullivan is a nice man with a good heart, okay? The problem is what he's done with the property. We have a piece of property that's in a dangerous condition, and again, that's been true for
What
years.
needs to be done then for Mr. Sullivan to be?
I'm not the inspector, but the people who do the inspections, I believe, have indicated what work has to be done to make the house safe. The structural engineer will indicate what work has to be done to make the house safe.
Okay.
I know there was piping, I know there was a whole bunch of stuff in the, I guess, the basement level that they thought the floor was gonna collapse at some point. But in addition, you mentioned, you know, you live there as a family and eating together. Another problem is each time an inspection was done, okay, there's the rooms, and I don't know which room you're in, I don't know if you're in there. All I know is there's rooms with microwave ovens.
I didn't have any of that.
I'm not saying you did.
Right.
I'm saying there were rooms with microwave ovens.
Right.
There were rooms with refrigerators.
There was no reason for that, I understand.
Well, the idea is that constitutes what we consider a boarding home, and the
Right.
property is not zoned for
That
boarding
wasn't
homes.
necessary.
There were too many people in various rooms. There were people sleeping in rooms that were not bedrooms. And again, if this was, you know, it wasn't a month, 2 months, 3 months, it's 3 years.
And when that first occurred, I was sleeping on a couch. And I was looking for work left and right. And I thank God that I was blessed for the job for the year. And I took that job very seriously and saddened by the fact that the job was taken away through the fact that the gentleman passed away in the hospital at 97 years old, God bless him. But
But dealing with the problem at hand,
yes, sir.
whatever the work that has to be done, it's not dictated by this council. It's dictated by the people who do the inspections, and they will determine what work has to be done. And I'm sure there's a substantial amount of it, and I know, you know, there were other issues with bugs, there were issues with a whole bunch of different things.
Listen, there's no reason to hide anything. Mr. Sullivan knows I had marks on it. Never did before. You know, I came from a beautiful home in Freehold, 230 Pinnock Road, you can look it up. My dad, again, was a land acquisitioner for
But
Carroll.
you know what though? The problem is when somebody gets hurt and when the bug gets in, you know, something happens, you get infected, then somebody's gonna say to the town, how could you let this happen? How could you let this person live there with these people and now somebody's been injured, dead, whatever? The bottom line is, again, it's been a long time, and now in order to get, he has to rectify it,
Right.
and, you know, he's gonna have to remove the separation between the rooms. There's a bunch of stuff that has to be done, and then before he occupies, we're gonna, I mean, I'm not sure what the next step will be, but
Okay.
the bottom line is, there's a lot to be done, and
I
it has
asked
to
of
be
you
done.
to, obviously, you guys, members of the board, you are in control that his home doesn't get taken away as long as he rectifies the situation.
No, there's gonna be every reasonable effort to give them an opportunity. Once the engineer comes in Monday, they'll all get together with our building inspectors. They'll come up with a list and give them a reasonable amount of time.
Yes.
And, yeah, the threat of his home being knocked down really is not there yet. We're not, nowhere near that, so.
I mean,
He'll have every opportunity to get the house fixed up and move back in it.
right, we all, took pride in the home, you know,
No
When I
doubt
came
from what
in
you
from-
said, and I'm not trying to cut you short, but we've heard, your story was very compelling, and it's, you know, it really hit
well, it
us.
wasn't that emotional, but it is emotional.
So,
And I got the scars to prove it myself. I mean,
Oh, we
Mr.
believe
Sullivan's
you.
right behind me, there's no secrets to hide. I was living on a couch for a period of time, and, you know, we painted the house, we painted the kitchen, we painted the outside.
Now we gotta fix the structure and you're all set.
And occupy it the way it's supposed to be occupied.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
thanks, Natalie.
Have a
Nice
good
to hear from you.
Have a great night.
Okay. Mr. Sullivan, I think somebody else wanted to go before you because you just had an opportunity. Did you want to say anything, Don?
Yes, I would like to.
Good.
And yes, I still think I'm not Geiger and live at 1108 Grassmere. Actually, I want to revisit one of my old favorite topics, the post office up Fairmont. Multiple times, people have parked in space that's, got now white painted lines, has a sign that says no parking, has a sign that says do not block the access to these parking places. And their response is, well, I'm not parking, I'm standing. Now, look it up. Well, I'm not gonna look it up because that's the police department. Now, I'm wondering, maybe they take a few minutes and say, well, if someone's sitting behind the wheel, whether the engine's running or not, is that parking or standing? And either way, they're blocking access. And I don't care whether the store is open or not. If it's 5 a.m. in the morning, that's one thing. But you shouldn't have to park there anyway, 5 a.m. in the morning, you know what I mean? It's just been really bad for the last, I would say, 3 weeks or more.
It's gonna get worse now, Christmas time. So
Christmas,
I see
yeah,
it, I go to that post office, I see exactly what you're talking about. I'm annoyed by it as well, because I would never do that to the lady that owns AIM, that little
Yeah.
store there. And I'll park with my bad hip around a block away and walk down there.
I mean, there's one.
They won't do it when the police car is coming by. I've seen it happen a million times. We'll see our cruiser come down the street and all those cars move.
Yeah.
Just the way it is now. I don't know, we just can't like drop a guy out of the sky. It's a luck kind of thing. They're gonna catch him or they're not.
I know, I understand. And I've said a thing or two to people, I'm parking. I'm just standing.
Right.
Anyway, the other thing I want to mention, because it kind of bugs me a little bit, but that's just me, is the two buildings that we now own. The one by the golf course
Yep.
and the yeshiva. And I'm just wondering how much more of my money and the rest of the taxpayers' money is going to be poured into those buildings, number one, and whether we're going to see return on our investment outlay.
Yeah, so we're rushing to get the roof done, the mold remediated, so we can put an RFP out for bid for using the building this summer. We have several interested parties for summer camp, which will bring revenue in. This is for 1515 Logan.
Right.
As you see, they're doing work there, so.
Well, I saw the roof.
We're hoping by the last meeting of January, we'll be able to put an RFP, request for proposal,
Right.
to use the building. And then the other one, we're gonna start working on, the one next to the golf course, we're gonna actually cut that in half, reduce the size, and we're gonna put that into use. One of the uses we have for that building immediately is that we're running out of space for people to rent rooms for activities. And even like now, right, you try to rent a room at the rec center, we're booked. So the place next to the golf course can also be utilized for that. We'll use that room for that as well, for events and things, and then also we're gonna use it. So it's all coming, it just takes a little time, it's a municipality, so we're not wasting your tax dollars, we'll get it.
I strongly hope so. And last, but of course not least, I have to get my official shout out to Alyssa, Nancy, and Tom in Public Works, who have always been awesome
Great,
when I've contacted them with issues, problems, potholes, etc.
great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else before we adjourn? Mr. Sullivan, one more time.
Thank you for the second time to speak. The closing, the structural, part of this, Tom Gironda, even though, they may all think this is funny or whatever, I'm Irish. I know how to laugh at my own misery, but I don't laugh at others. I really don't. I learned that the hard way. But they're not acting independently. What happened is the will and plan of this council. It's like saying that the town, it says it right in the coaster, like Asbury's looking for a town manager, and they say, well, it's an autonomous position. but not really, because the council has the power to hire and fire everybody. And these guys are sitting on a cushy six-figure salary. I mean, come on now, people aren't stupid, but people forget. The average person in the country is actually pretty moral and pretty intelligent. It really is the will of the council, and this was used, Mayor, with all due respect. That meeting that you told me you were going to was obviously with Kate, Tom, and David to figure out how to basically kibosh it. This was an agenda. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out.
No,
I
we're
know
not.
you can't undo it now because of legal sleaze. No one wants to be
Mr.
responsible,
Sullivan,
and our country is sick over this.
I'm gonna answer you, because you made a statement, you threw something out there. And no, we're policymakers, we're not lawbreakers. So in
Yeah,
other words, we
you
can't
do set the
overturn
agenda, and
something.
what you say
Sorry.
goes because you have the power to do it. You're elected officials.
And we
You
have
do call the
ordinances
shots. Yes, the council in towns call the shots.
We have a
That's
fiduciary
very
responsibility
simple,
to every
easy
resident
to
in Ocean Township.
understand,
Mr.
Mayor.
Sullivan, nobody's out to get you. And I know
They
that's
have,
right.
I'm out in the street, how much, what do you,
You know,
I guess you could shoot me or hit me with a taser.
You mentioned
or take
something
my
about-
house away, then we'll have the feds coming in, because then is it pay over?
house,
Is
you
it
guys
part
are-
of the community? This is outrageous, I've been kicked out of my home, and all my friends, I love all these people more than myself, and they're kicked to the curb. The trash is removed. And we do need sunshine laws too. This stuff should be public, not a little legal sleaze plan, and that's exactly what it is. And I know you can't even undo it now, but you did it. To say it isn't the council is ridiculous. Everybody knows that.
No.
Yes, they do. Who can you fire? Can you hire and fire
Only-
Tom Girardi? Yes.
No, we
Can
can't.
you hire and fire
No.
the town manager?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
They can counter-sue, but
Listen,
it's I
Our
got
only hire and fire on our form of government would be the town manager. He is now at the top of the pyramid for everyone else. We can only hire and fire him.
Don't you think that the employees are gonna do what you tell them?
No.
You go, yes.
No,
Yes.
we're not allowed to.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn?
What you say and what you,
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
evil as it should
Second.
benefit of lying, good's gonna win in the long run. This isn't right, you know it. You know it.
All right. Thank you.
Everybody knows it. The public's gonna know because it just ain't right. If it doesn't make sense, it's probably not good. It's not, makes sense for people to be thrown out of their home, and that's what you did.
Yes.
Council members of Chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan.
Allen.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
And Mayor Sofia.
Sorry you did this. This is horrible.
Thank
This
you.
is really horrible.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for coming. We are twice a day at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. Channel 22 will be on file, 770 of Cablevision, and of course, they're archived on YouTube within 24 hours of each meeting. Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you.